Hey there folks, welcome back. I'm Scott with Kingfisher Culinary Solutions. Today we're going to work on a pretty basic recipe for a turkey burger. For those of you that are having a hard time finding beef in the store or want something a little bit lighter, maybe not so heavy as a regular hamburger patty, this is a great option with a couple of twists and tricks in it to make it really customizable to what you're looking for. So folks, as always, everything that's going to come in this tutorial is stuff you can pick up at the grocery store, your local Sobeys, Zayres, No Frills, anything like that. So there's nothing special here. Some very basic, simple ingredients for a beautiful finished product. So folks, just like before, like when you're doing any cooking, you want to make sure that you have ample room to do what you need to do. You'll see here that I've got all my supplies and whatnot just spaced out perfectly so that I have room to work and that I'm not encumbered in any way. Now to start folks, this one starts out really simply. What you're going to do is you're going to get yourself a large bowl. I like these big metal ones. You're going to take the ground turkey out of the package and you're just going to put it in the bottom of the bowl there. You're going to set that off to the side. Once you've set that off to the side, you're going to grab your 2 eggs. Now, they don't have to be white eggs. You just want them to be large. Some recipes will call for you to separate the yolks and the whites. In this case, you don't really need to do that. So you're just going to take your bowl, you're going to take your eggs, you're going to give them a nice tap, and the entire egg goes in there. It's usually pretty good to do this next to a sink just so you can drop the shells in there as you're going through. So now that you've got the eggs in there, you can set that aside. We're going to chop up some of the other ingredients to mix in before we start mixing it all together with our hands. So first up, folks, what we're going to look at is something that confuses a few people. It's garlic. So usually a lot of recipes, they talk about cloves of garlic. And realistically, what that means is this big bulb contains multiple cloves. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut it and open it up. Now, you'll see that some of it comes apart fairly easily. What you want is you want one of these bulb looking things. That would be a clove. So if the recipe calls for 2 cloves like this one, I'm doing double, so I'm going to get twice that amount. And we'll set the rest to the side there. You're going to take the flat of your blade, you're going to place it just on top, and you're just going to bang down and crush it. And what you'll see is now you can simply pull off all the excess skin. Super easy, right? So you take the next one, put your knife down, bang it down, and the skin comes off super easy. And just like with the knife skill before, you're going to take your knife, put your hands, pinch the top, and you're just going to rock ever so slightly. Set your line up again, and just rock. Right? You're simply taking your time, making sure you're doing everything the way it needs to. Again, we're not in any rush here. And you'll get faster as you continue to do this, but essentially what you're left with is a nice finely diced bit of garlic there. So now that your garlic's in with your turkey and your eggs, what you're going to do is you're going to pull a little bit of the parsley over here. Now you won't need quite this much. The recipe calls for about 2 tablespoons chopped. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut off the binding on it. Now what you'll find with parsley is there's a lot of stem to a lot of it. I'm just using the Italian parsley here, but you don't necessarily want all of that stem getting in with your fine dice. What you really want is just the leaves. So the easiest thing to do is to take your fingers and pinch them together, place them on the stem, and just pull through the top. And this makes sure that you get all of the leaves and as much as the stem out as possible. So what you end up with is some very thin looking stuff just like that. So folks, now that I've got my parsley all stripped, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my clean knife and I'm simply gonna do what I was doing with the garlic. You're just gonna put one hand on top of your knife and you're just gonna rock ever so slightly, moving up and down over the leaves. You're gonna have to do this a couple times, straighten them out into lines, and just start your knife over again. But as you can see, that's really all that you need. It just needs to be almost like confetti. And then what you'll do is you'll pick that up, transfer it over to your bowl, clean up your station, and you're ready for the next one. So folks, now that all your vegetables are chopped up, your turkey and your eggs are in the bowl, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to some of the other ingredients there. Now, I've just portioned them off here on the right hand side. So I've got my vegetable or olive oil at the top, the black pepper, a little bit of salt, and the Worcestershire sauce. I believe I said that right. I don't know anybody who knows how to say it right. But you're just gonna dump those in. Make sure you get all of it in there. You'll have to use the pepper and salt to taste. I mean, some people like more, some people like less. But now you see that it's all in there. What I'm gonna recommend, wash your hands and dive in. Now folks, there is no alternative way to do this. The only way to get this kind of done is to get your hands dirty and just get in there. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your hand, and some people really don't like the texture, but you're gonna make sure that you're rotating the turkey, making sure that you're getting all the vegetables on all sides. It's not the most wonderful feeling, but what you want to make sure is it's real mixed. So whether you punch it, grab it, turn it, you just want to make sure that you've mixed it well enough so that all the eggs and etc. are mixed in. You don't have any areas that are lacking for any of the ingredients. You'll see it looks quite wet, but I guarantee you it'll taste great. So at this point, folks, after washing your hands, I'd recommend just letting the turkey mixture sit for a couple minutes. While you're doing that, if you have parchment paper lying around, you can cut up a couple of sheets. This is just going to help when you're pounding out your patties so that they don't stick to the surface that you're planning them on, and you don't end up tearing them apart. Now I use a press. You can roll them out by hand, but specifically I like using the press for consistency's sake, so that when you're pressing all of your burgers, they all come out the same size, same consistency, same thickness, so that they cook the same. Realistically, if you're familiar with one of these machines, they're like 10 to 15 bucks on Amazon. You can get them at the dollar store or any real cooking store. But essentially all you're gonna do is you're gonna place 2 pieces of parchment paper down, one on the bottom, your meat in the middle, and one across the top, and then you take the top, press down, and if you've portioned it correctly, what you should have is 2 patties that are ready to go. And what you'll find is you can simply transfer them to the grill like this. You can take the top part off, turn them over, remove the bottom plastic, and they'll keep their shape that way. So folks, once again, we're back outside here for the grilling portion of the meal. You've got your barbecue set up, so I'm going to do these ones up real quick on the barbecue, and I'll show you how that's done in just a second here. So folks, just like last time, you're going to set your barbecue to medium-high. You see I've got all 4 panels going, and I've got a nice clean grill that I'm working off of, so there's no leftover residue or anything like that. If you have to give it a quick scrape before you start, not a problem at all. It's well worth doing. So now that your grill is nice and warm, you're going to come over here to the patties that you made. You're just going to grab them by the parchment paper. Now remember, you're going to lay away from yourself. So you're going to push down and just peel the paper away ever so nicely, just like that. Lay as many as you need to out. Now I made these ones deliberately a little bit thinner so they cook up a little nicer, but what you can do is you can just close the lid for a little bit, let them cook off. I'd say about 4 minutes. We'll come back, we'll check on them. Probably good to flip after that point. So folks, it's been about 4 minutes of them sitting on the barbecue on the medium high, and you can see that they're just starting to sweat through. So this is the ideal point at which point you can flip them before you overcook them. So what you're going to do is you can flip those. You'll close it back up, and you'll leave them for about another 2 minutes. So after that 2 minutes, they should be ready to go. So you can see, just give them a nice little shove. You'll see that they're nice and cooked on both sides. So you just take them off the grill, and you're gonna let them rest for just a couple minutes, just to make sure they have time to finish kind of stabilizing on the inside. Okay guys, so now that it's come off the barbecue, you can see you can plate it however you like. It goes great with a couple of fries there, some nice fresh sliced tomato, a little bit of lettuce. I've used the 5-year-old cheddar there that comes from the mac and cheese. Decorate it however you like with a pickle and enjoy. And that's the simple turkey burger that we did for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.